Welcome to a brand new episode of the 60-Second Car, the podcast that covers all minutes of every single moment that is the Fast saga. We have no guests today. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host Daniel, and we will be jumping directly into this wonderful music composed by the one himself, Mr. Daniel. Here we go!
60-Second
And we're back. Welcome back to the 60-second car. We are on we're minute 27. Is that correct today?
Yeah. Yep.
Minute 27. We just finished the car ride, or we didn't finish the car ride. We are in the middle of the car ride after we have lost the cops. Everything has calmed down. I guess it wasn't going to be a long police chase. It was just we lost the cops. We're driving along the road, and now we're having a nice little conversation between our two main characters about whether or not somebody has been to jail or pinched for something.
Yeah.
Right?
The hundreds of cops that were just 2 blocks away are all completely dispersed now, and the crisis is over.
They're gone, man.
Yeah?
It's more, instead of like we need to get these guys for doing crimes, it was more like a, shoo, get off my farm, you pesky rodents kind of thing.
Yeah, but like with every friend they had.
Yeah, exactly. Shoo, be gone.
Quit making all your street racing noise out here. People can't get their pizzas at whatever time o'clock it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, some businesses are open. It looks like it's midnight. There's no cars on the road. I don't know what time it is. I don't know if the writer of the screenplay decided on a time there. I really don't know. I did want to bring this up way before we get there, but I was talking about this with my community in stream, and a joke came up. Was like, you need to do something goofy and silly on minute 69, just because it's minute 69. Of course we're gonna do something goofy and silly.
Are you gonna turn one of us upside down?
Right. And then I went and looked at what minute 69 was.
Mm-hmm.
I got the minute off by 1 because I did the whole thing where I got it wrong. But because it's actually minute 68, which is a shame. At minute 68, we hear the first mention of race wars. Which is a crazy coincidence.
I mean, that's what I call 69ing.
Yeah, race wars. Yeah, exactly. I don't. One car goes that way, one car goes that way. You see what happens. But yeah, I thought that was a funny one. There's also a couple of other jokes that got talked about. We tried to look up to see if the Wacky Circus Gang, aka ICP, aka the Insane Clown Posse, had a song in the franchise, and we got a weird Google search. It was close, and we thought it was real for a second, but it's not, unfortunately. So that's why I'm bringing it up, and I'm not surprising you when we get there. In the fourth movie, Fast and Furious, there is a song named Clown Posse,
but it's not ICP.
It's not ICP.
That's great.
It sounds like it maybe could be a beat from them, because there's like one lyric and it kind of just repeats, and then it's just a beat. But yeah, it's just called Clown Posse. We got thrown because I was like, there's absolutely no way this would be real. But it kind of sounds like it could be, like I said.
Sure. I mean, maybe this was after some therapy or something. I don't know.
Between Violent J and Shaggy Two Dope.
Yeah. Do you remember when they were wrestlers? They were in the WWE.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I just realized something. Hold on. This is fine. Leave it all in. It's great.
Oh, okay.
There we go. I was like, I look weird. There we go.
Right. You look beautiful as always. It didn't matter to me.
Now it's popping.
Yeah. Is that where the clown makeup started?
Oh, no. They were doing the band thing before WWF with the oddities was the what the hell they call them? It's not a roster. It doesn't matter, but they're group. They're like little wrestle gang. It was all these guys. One guy's like really tall. One guy was George the Animal Steel, so he was like a little nuts.
And the names were there too and everything. Did
Yeah,
they
they
not
were
change
just
anything?
themselves. No, they just
Wow.
like wrestling and were kind of representing the band, but also like if you're a wrestling fan and you can go be a wrestler and
Yeah.
you're already a musician, like I think there's some unfortunate people who've done it also, but like I'd do it.
I mean, there's an unfortunate YouTuber doing it right now.
That's the guy I was referencing, but I couldn't remember his
oh.
name, and that's fine.
Oh, Jake Paul.
yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
I don't know anything
yeah.
about him, but he seems not good.
Well, no, he's horrible. It's a shame though because he's good at doing the whole wrestling thing, which is a big shame because that means he's probably going to be around for a while. But yeah, the crowd loves him. I think that all the producers love him, and yeah, he does some crazy stuff. But yeah, he's an unfortunate human being. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Speaking of unfortunate stuff, we talk about the unfortunate moments in this car ride here in the original Fast and the Furious minute 27, where we have this lovely image of Mr. Brian here. Just he's halfway rolling his eyes because he just got caught for having done some time in juvie for boosting cars or whatever it is.
Yeah, the last one ends with him like getting grilled with Dom, being like, "Oh, so not boost? You have your boost cars? No, you're a wheelman? No." And then he calls him out about 2 years in juvie hall for boosting cars. I have so much to say about this.
Yes, please.
So, Dom knows about 2 years in juvie for boosting cars, which is fine because then that's backed up by him saying that Jesse can find anything on the web about anybody, which means Jesse found information about a fake person.
Yeah.
Unless there are two scenarios: either the cops went through and they put all this fake information up online about Brian Spillner, or Dom knows that he's a cop right here, right now, and he wants him to call it out. Because I'm thinking of like Fast 8, Dom Toretto, who had the Shaw brothers come into a plane and had like this whole master plan that he was orchestrating through the entire movie. He was always 9 steps ahead. So he's trying to talk to Brian now about, oh, you go to jail? What's your past like? Come and tell me about yourself. But then that whole theory is thrown into the wind at the very end of the movie when he calls for backup from the cops, and Dom's like, "You're a cop?" So it might just be crazy thing in these movies, a plot hole.
So I don't know if this is true, and I'm sure that maybe the YouTube commenters can correct us on this because they'll probably look this up before I will. It seems like that may have been a big complaint when the movie came out. So this is 2001, and this is maybe before we saw a lot of like tech stuff in Hollywood where they were changing records on the internet or whatever it might have been. But in Too Fast, Too Furious, they do this again. They call this thing out kind of again by by kind of making, I think they falsify the records for both, maybe they don't actually, for both Brian and Roman, because if you remember, I don't know when the last time you saw it, it's probably a while ago. If you remember from Too Fast, Too Furious, the guy and the undercover agent are looking up all the people's records that are doing the whole like tryout thing to go get the cigar case from the I think it's a red Lambo from the boat lot. So it's possible that they call it out in that movie to show that, hey, we as cops can make up whatever we want on the records internet, So I don't know if they got a bunch of complaints from this movie and decided, hey, let's do something about that in the second movie, or they just did the same thing again to be like, this is what we did, or maybe it's not connected. I don't know.
I think in the world of this movie in 2001, it was probably an error in a vacuum. That I'm like trying to pretend I'm watching this in, but I also know I can't do that. It seems like a little oopsie, but it's also just really funny because he's so damn cocky about Jesse finding anything on the web, and he found lies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's crazy because, as we know, everything on the internet is real and true.
Right.
So
we're the only podcast. True.
We are the only podcast that exists ever in time. Except for Far Beyond Metal, you can find over on all your podcasting apps as well.
That's right.
But those are the only two. Those are the only two.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if we said it, it must be true. So obviously, if Jesse finds it, that also must be true. And this is the peak time of the PSAs of you wouldn't download a car, right?
I mean, this is about the time where you get all the Napster stuff going on, so probably.
And I think did that whole like thing backfire on them, because most people are like, yeah, I would download a car. What do you mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would absolutely download a car a million times. What are you talking about?
Yeah, if someone has a car and I can just poke two buttons and they keep their car and I also get a car, of course I'm going to download a car. I'm going to download more cars than I need.
Yeah, right. I'm going to download all the cars. You telling me I could do this for free? Yeah, why not?
Yeah, every day will be a different car.
Yeah. Speaking of him doing the whole like catching him phase, is this becoming more of Brian is just the greatest actor of all time, or what do you think's going through Brian's head when he's like, "Oh, you caught me," right? When Dom talks to him, he's like, "You can't hide anything from us. We can find anything," and we get those faces.
Well, I wonder if Brian O'Connor did actually do 2 years in juvie for doing car stuff, which is now why he's on this case.
Yeah.
So
that
then
was
they just
my theory.
Yeah, so then they just like put Spillner on it in whatever records Jesse has access to, and that it's still true. So he's not lying right now. Well, sort of, but you know.
So my next question, and I think I've had this question. I don't know if I've posed it on the podcast, but I think it said something similar. Because like what you just said, I think is exactly what I've been thinking the whole time, which is that why he was chosen for this? My question is, if you have a record of any sort, are you allowed to be a cop?
Oh, I have no idea. I feel like, well, I know somebody that became a cop, and I would bet money they have some kind of record.
We all know somebody like that, yeah.
But no, I wonder, because I remember it was a whole deal when he was like getting the academy and stuff like that people weren't like allowed to smoke weed around him. Huh.
Do you think he made that up though?
Oh, my friend? Maybe. I don't know.
Because like I always hear about
my mom says
like
I can't be around weed.
But it's like it's one of those things where it's like oh yeah, I can't even be close to it because I'm in the academy. It's like something to say, right? It's I don't know. I feel like a lot of people who go through the police academy sort of get that it's not like a crazy diss or anything, but that diss. I use the word diss, which is I guarantee kids don't use that word these days.
What do they do? Slam?
I don't know.
Anyway.
They clown on them? That's probably old too now.
Wow,
Jesus.
that might be as old as diss, if not. Well,
yeah, I don't know. But I feel like a lot of people who go through the police academy sort of get this Captain America feeling vibe of like, I'm going to be the justice of the law and I'm going to be, you know, so important. And I feel like that attitude kind of carries through and you kind of just make stuff up as you go along. Like, you can't even smoke weed around me because I have to do something about that. And it's like, what are you on? You're on something more than I'm on something. I don't know, man. I've seen it too much.
Does being a cop make you no, it probably doesn't make you a federal employee. Because,
No,
like, weed's still illegal federally, but it's not in California state-wise. So, like, is it fine? Like, I know somebody who's a registered nurse, and they went to a dispensary one time with a friend of theirs, and at dispensaries they make you basically like sign in and give over all your information.
Mm-hmm.
And this person was like, I'm not doing that. I'm a registered nurse. I'm not getting into your database because it'll fuck over my like livelihood. So no, and I'm not going to buy anything from you anyway. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
But that's,
Yeah,
I guess,
feel
if you're
like-
just purchasing.
I feel like, so yeah, if you're a cop, you're an employee of the city. and then if you're a sheriff, you're an employee of the county, which are both government jobs. I wonder if there is something within their employment agreement that says something like that. But it is recreationally legal, so I don't think so. But who knows? I don't. What do I know? I don't know, Jack.
Certainly don't know cop law.
I don't know.
So
cop
then
law.
we still have this lovely back and forth with her.
Yes.
I think the love's really starting to get going right here.
This is where he answers the question. This is where he talks about how. This is where Dom talks about how he's been to prison, and he'll never go back. He's got that sad look on his face. He's looking back. Maybe his eyes are turning red, and he's just seeing red. I don't know what it might be, but I know he changes attitude very quickly here.
Now, he's referring to doing 2 years in Lompoc, which I looked up as a medium security prison. That's the wrench thing?
Yes.
Okay,
I believe
so
that's the only time he's ever been put in prison, yeah.
He was close in the end of 4, beginning of 5, but then they heisted him out or whatever, so...
Right.
That's interesting. You think with him being the guy he is, with the reputation he has everywhere, being the, like, kingpin of this racing underground, that he'd have more than just the 2 years.
So
But
yeah,
maybe it's
that's
like-
kind of the thing. Does he pay any cops? You think he's got anybody
Oh.
on a payroll?
That's a great question. That's never occurred to me. Like, if he did, then they potentially would have told him about Brian.
Yeah. Unless nobody knows, which I think when it comes to undercover stuff, most cops don't actually know.
How many undercover cops you know, really?
I mean, probably
know
more
one.
than I actually do know. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa.
Are
You're
you
an
a
undercover cop. Tell
Are
us
you
in the
an undercover
comments.
cop? You have to tell me something?
You have to tell me if you're an undercover cop.
It is interesting how that might work because so after this movie, he's in Mexico for a while, and then I think he's in a bunch of different countries in South America. Maybe where like the stuff he's doing is not gonna get you put in prison. Granted, I think in 4 they are like moving tons of drugs around. I think that's what it is, right? I actually don't remember. 4 is the one I don't remember at all.
Yeah, and 4's like the regrouping of everybody. And
Yeah.
It's kind of like the initial reset, but all I remember about 4 is the very end, because that's the very beginning of 5.
Mm-hmm. It's also kind of yeah. It's the very beginning
the
of
hell
5
happens
and kind of the
before?
story of how 10 works too.
Yeah, right. I remember 5 really well now because of 10.
Yes, yeah. 10 is like a direct sequel of 5. I gotta watch 5 again. 5 again keeps popping up on my Instagram feed. Is like most of the clips coming from that. I also watched a special operations military operator break down one of the scenes from 5 where The Rock and his crew get ambushed. And it was like the whole point of the video was to break down the scene for accuracy. And I go, we're checking for accuracy in the Fast and the Furious. What are we doing?
We don't have to do everything on the internet because you can, but sure, go for it.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, he does a lot of stuff, right? And I think so. Okay, is it 5? When does he meet Mr. Nobody?
Oh,
That's after 5, isn't it?
is that like 8?
It's pretty late. I think it's
No.
before 8, but it's well after 5. It's got to be like 6 or 7.
Yeah, I'm thinking 7.
Yeah. So it's not until 7 where he has like basically diplomatic immunity. Oh, isn't there a scene where they have to like travel in a plane and hope that like Mr. Nobody does something before they land, or else they are going to prison? Or is that just a scene with Brian?
Well,
It
my
might just be a
connection,
Brian thing.
me figuring out where Nobody is, he's in 7, because in 8 he's not in 8,
Right.
but that's when they bring in Scott Eastwood to be like the blonde white guy sub for Brian. And then I don't think Mr. Nobody's in that because he's like under his umbrella of people.
Right. Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. He like Mr. Nobody is the He's a Sam Jackson, Nick Fury, where he shows up only when he's really, really needed, right?
Right.
So like he's got Little Nobody, right? Or Nobody Junior. Is he Little Nobody? What's his name?
I couldn't tell you. I think it's Little Nobody. I mean, that's what they call him. I don't know what his actual
Right.
character name is.
I think that's kind of his character name.
Okay.
And then you have
Tess has a name.
Tess has a name, but because they never do they refer to her as something nobody? I don't know if they do. I don't
Maybe
remember.
not.
But she does. Yeah, she goes by Tess. And then that other agent who is, I think he's FBI, I believe. The one where he keeps getting his nose broken by Brian. It's like he's gotten his nose broken like 3 times. Because there was one time where he had to go see and fight his way out of a jail cell. And in order to get to like the high security part, he had to break his nose again, I think for the last time, as that's how he got him into that prison.
Yes. Don't remember that guy's deal, but I remember that a little bit.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on in these
he
movies.
shows up throughout all of them a little bit, but yeah, I think he's FBI, if I remember that correctly. But yeah, you have a lot of that, and so throughout all this, he's got to have a payroll of some sort, right? Like, there's no way he's not just ending up in jail all the time, or he's just maybe that's why he's got this whole secrecy thing going on, because he kind of acts like a special agent or like a secret agent from this movie on. Like, it's always been that way. I don't know if he was supposed to be written that way, but it's kind of how he plays it.
Who's this, Dom?
Yeah, Dom.
Yeah. Or, yeah, he's got like kind of a Kingpin and Daredevil sort of vibe where he's not really getting his hands dirty until you face him head on, but he's got minions, and are his minions cops. Like, so he's got in later minutes, I'm reminded that he's got the house that we all know, and that Mia just lives with him. But like nobody else, like everyone else, I'm assuming pays their bills via whatever laundered money thing he's got going.
I guess, right? We don't
Like,
really get like this whole. I mean, we never really get like daily life in these movies. When I think people would enjoy that.
The closest we have is Dom sits in his rage cage drinking Snapple or whatever, while Mia pretends to do math, and everyone else just kind of has nothing to worry about.
Okay, now I need Tenacious D's rage cage drawn as the cage that holds Dominic Toretto. Because that is peak right there. That'd be great. Yeah, he's doing this whole brooding thing, and now, considering we're pretty deep into this episode, we should probably get to this piece. We have the next big story beat, and upcoming some more character introductions. Yeah, as they're getting approached, I think they must be this is Chinatown, right? Roughly, even though Chinatown's not very big in LA.
I'm like leaving all the LA geography up to you, because every time you're like, oh, this is over the east side, I'm just like, haha, I bet it is. Well,
okay. Let me get to it. The reason I say that is because, and I think they do a lot of establishing. So we have some of this, right? The bikes all catch up. Now that I'm looking at it deeper, is that Paul Walker actually driving there? It looks
so.
like Vin Diesel.
It seems early for CGI, that kind of thing, so maybe they just had him do the straightaway shot, and it's...
We did see the CGI in a couple of episodes ago, and it was pretty bad, so this must be them. Oh, the
racings, yes.
Yeah, this has got to be them. So, yeah, they're driving along. There's a Payless shoe stores. So the reason I believe this to be... we've got our first face of our second character that we'll have introduced in a second. I guess, you know what? That's not till the next minute. Never mind. We have some establishing shots in the next minute that pretty much, I think, confirm that we're in Chinatown. But if you go to Chinatown now, and I mean, even, God, 2015 was like the first time I think I've been to LA Chinatown, and it's pretty small. So I don't know what's going on. But, I mean, as we see, the last thing we see here is them getting pulled over, I guess.
Yeah, they're flanked by like 8 motorcycles, and weirdly, the people on the motorcycles, they do carpool. There's a couple bikes where
do.
there's there's a couple bikes where there's 2 people on them.
They're also riding bikes. These are car guys for sure. We know these are car guys in the future of this movie, but they're riding bikes, which is, it's more economical, is it not?
Yes.
I think they get way more miles per gallon than basically any four-wheeled vehicle. But yes, as you pointed out, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Are they all tandem except for weirdo cousin here?
Maybe. I feel like
think there
there's way
might
more
be.
motorcycles later, but like in this shot, there's not that many.
There's only 6. Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's 6. Maybe it's 8 people.
Yeah, I think
No?
I think it's 6. Oh no, there might be. This might be another bike here. It is. So there's 7. And am I looking? No, I think it's. Wait, hold on. No, it's only 7. 7, but it's still. 8 is close to 7. So right, that works.
Thank
Right,
you.
I did
Oh
my
my
math
God.
correctly. 8 is close to 7.
I'm told, but I've heard 6 is afraid of 7.
Oh, wait, why?
Because 7 chewed up and swallowed 9.
The heck?
Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
I
That was
didn't
big
hear
news.
about this. It was in the news. Dang.
Weirdly, it was all over Threads last week.
Threads. Yes. For those that are curious about when these episodes are being made, Threads is pretty new. So that'll probably not date us.
Next week, I'll be talking about Blue Sky. When I get the invite code.
If you live anywhere but the U.S., you probably have no idea what Threads is because it's not allowed anywhere else. Because everywhere else
really?
is. Yeah. So if you look at the terms of service of Threads, they're pretty horrible. They
Great.
actually try to find your so they want your race, your religious affiliation, your gender, and like a couple other things so that they can confirm it's you. I don't know. I haven't given them most of that information, so I don't know how they have it, but I'm sure they have it somehow.
Huh.
But yes,
I
the
know it's like
European
an
Union
Instagram
does not
thing.
allow any of that, so Threads does not exist over there.
All right. It's a bad time to say we're on
there's
Threads.
I mean, we're on Threads. Yeah, absolutely. We have an Instagram. We've already signed up for a lot of that stuff a long time
True.
ago. But yeah, you can probably find us on Blue Sky whenever they allow a lot more people to come in. We'll see. Either way, you can always go to the website. But yeah, I mean, we're leading into something much bigger in the next couple of minutes. But we have a brand new introduction. So like the question is, when we see these guys on bikes for the first time, it's jarring, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're like, why bikes?
I think that's to distinguish them from the other guys because like they're car guys, and these are the dudes
Mm-hmm.
rolling up on like the other, and it's like a western, like someone rolls up on a different color horse.
But they
Or
are
is
also
it
car guys, right?
Yeah, look, it
It's so
doesn't always
weird.
work.
It's so weird.
Well, it's hard to flank people with this close of proximity with cars because the cars we bump into each other.
It's true, but it would be cooler.
Like if the guy on driver's side, on the driver's side in the front was on like a British car and was able to knock on the window and tell him to pull over, that'd be badass. But like
Yeah.
in a regular car, he'd have to like throw a rock, do the roll down your window symbol. They roll down their window, pull over. What? Weirdly, I can't hear you for once over the sound of my car and the wind. You're
wonder-
not just whispering.
I wonder if they're writing these because, as we may or may not be able to connect in the later part of this video or movie, I should say, they don't really have cars that work. Is that for all of them? Maybe I don't actually know. But yeah, we're there. They got what is referred to, and it's a very common term, even though I think this might have been the first time I've ever heard it in my life, which is they're riding crotch rockets.
I knew it from just like the zeitgeist. It could have come from this movie for all I know, but like there
Because
was the one
2001, I
kid.
was 11. It must have been the first time I heard it.
Yeah, probably. Well, I didn't see this movie till like 3 years ago, so
Well, there's that. Yeah, I did see this movie brand new, and there's a lot of things that I. So when they're
For all-
talking
for all
car
you know, this
stuff,
is
I'm
the
like, that
origin?
must
Yeah.
be real. It's got to be. I think. Yeah, I think that is the last. This is the last frame in our minute. So we see pretty cool shot of the car pulling into something. They're pulling into a whatever it might be. We'll see in the next minute. But they're getting pulled over, and it's weird because we now have our main character, who we still don't know is a cop, who's trying to join this gang and crew. He's got already an adversary in that crew, right? And now he's finally gotten in the good graces of Dominic Toretto, the legendary Dominic Toretto, after getting in a fight in front of his cafe. And then we have another speed bump in the road. That was not a car pun, I swear. Don't come after me.
Oh, God. Sorry. No, my cat is now very interested in my lap for once. All right, never mind, we're good. Sorry,
right.
I'm listening.
You're good. And this is the first. And yet there's another speed bump in the road, and our first gun in the movie. I think.
Yeah,
it's got to be right.
I think so.
So yeah, we have our first gun. So things are serious. Things are heating up. Do you have anything else for this minute?
I don't. All I have is the quote, "Follow us," and that's how this minute ends.
Oh yeah, follow us. Yeah. From this grumpy, you would think he's the little brother, but we'll find out in a second that he's a cousin of the main character, or the main guy in this group. But yeah, that'll do it for minute 27 of the 60-second car. As always, you can watch this over on youtube.com/Danotage, which you might be doing right now. But if you're not doing that, go do it over there. Go watch the video. We're here. We got our beautiful faces, and now it's all lit up and stuff. And if you're watching on YouTube and you want to listen to this in your car and you're like, hey, I don't have YouTube Premium, and it doesn't really make sense to have the video up, you can download this on your favorite podcasting app. We're all over the place. If you want to look for any of that information where you can download it or any type of all the different episodes we have, you can always go to danotage.tv/60second car, and it'll take you to the nice, fanciful website that has all of our information. That's where you can find us and follow us. Over on Instagram, you can follow us at Overcord, which is Daniel's lovely account. See his beautiful face. If you don't want to watch the video live and see that, you can just go to Instagram and see some cool stuff. You can probably see some cool band things, which I think I have something else to talk about next episode. Some cool band things over there, and you can follow me at Danotage, and then you can follow all of us through those links, the 60-second car. As always, I've been Dan, joined by the lovely Daniel, and we'll see you all next time.
Family!